Everybody, Happy New Year. First day of 2022. Let's talk about the last day of the 2021. Friday. We had a bunch of games. The first game this was the early one at 1 p.m. Eastern. Usually the early games, things could happen. Good teams, they could come in. I don't know. Phoenix played on the East. If they flew to Boston overnight, could be like time schedule, jet lag, all this kind of stuff. So upsets could happen more often, I suppose. This is a great way for the Celtics as well. For the Phoenix Suns, Cameron Johnson is the one that we need to pick up until Jay Crowder comes back. He played 34 minutes, had 20 points, 2 steals. He's very, very, very efficient. He won't hurt you anywhere. And it does a little bit everything other than the assist. Mikal Bridges played just 30 minutes. 2 steals and a block is good, 2 threes, but he needs to do more on the defensive end. A lot of his value coming from his efficiency. That gets overlooked a lot. But yeah, he still needs to get more defensive stats. In the last 2 weeks, let's do a quick check. Yeah, 143rd ranked player. That's not gonna cut it. Averaging just 0.9 steals and 0.4 blocks. So yeah, he just needs to get more defensive stats. Jalen Smith came in. He could be a stream because at the moment DeAndre Ayton, JaVale McGee is gonna be out. So those 2 guys gonna be out. We could stream Jalen Smith. He's gonna have the minutes. Devin Booker really struggled. Put up 22 points. But the counting stats looked alright. And Chris Paul, 14 points, 8 assists, and 2 steals. Chris Paul has fallen off a little bit in the last 2 weeks. He is the 59th ranked player in the last 2 weeks. Still averaging 8 assists and 1.7 steals and shooting 93% from the free throw line. But yeah, to me, on the season right now, he's ranked 20th. That's, top 20, top 25 whenever this guy plays. So that sounds about right. But I think before that, when he was like a top 10 player, that was the time to sell him. Now it's, the window is closed. Landry Shamet, Cameron Payne is a guy you could stream for assists and steals. That's it. But like you see here, the minutes is inconsistent, and the production is also inconsistent. He was a minus 27. Just played pretty horrible this game. And let's look at the Celtics. A really great win, and I think the hero of this game is Robert Williams. He had a triple-double. I think his first playoff game versus the Brooklyn Nets, he had like 9 blocks as well. So he will have games like this, just look super, super good. 5 for 5, 11 rebounds, 10 assists, even 2 steals and 5 blocks. I mean, what a monster line. And plus 14 as well. This is the time we could try to trade him. If you would like, if he doesn't, bring what stats you want. In the last 2 weeks, he's been decent. Robert, 16th ranked player. If you can get a top 20, top 25 player, if you can get Miles Turner for him, who hasn't been doing too well lately, Miles Turner, I would still take Miles Turner over Robert Williams. But again, it depends on. In category leagues, it depends on your team build. Miles Turner does bring some threes. Robert Williams doesn't. But overall value-wise, I think Miles Turner should be greater than Robert. Robert is too inconsistent. Regardless, a really great group. Al Horford struggled. So in games, Robert Williams goes off, Al Horford struggled. It's just a hold. He still has 7 rebounds and 7 assists. Still a hold. He'll be better than this. Grant Williams came in, played all right. But like every other team, they got a lot of guys out. So if Celtics got a good schedule, Grant Williams is a guy we could stream. Josh Richardson, we could stream. Peyton Pritchard with Marcus Smart back, he played just 13 minutes, so we could move on from him. With Marcus Smart out, he played just 44 minutes. So the decision making there is, we don't know. He played pretty well, 1 4 for 4, 3 for 3, but still just get the 13 minutes. Jaylen Brown continues to struggle from the field, Counting stat looked alright, but 6 turnovers is not so great. While Marcus Smart also went off, 24 and 9. Just a very, very good win from the Celtics. Let's talk about the next game. The Chicago Bulls beat the Indiana Pacers DeRozan had a crazy game winner. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. He had like a one-legged three, and he's not, he doesn't attempt that many threes. And the fact that they gave him the ball instead of Zach Levine, I don't know. I think he might be averaging more field goals than Zach Levine, but both guys are getting theirs. Usage, no problem. Javonte Green, 28 minutes, 2 steals and a block. That's fine, but not doing anything else. Let's not worry about him. DeRozan, 3 steals. The efficiency is a little bit off, but 11 for 12 on the free throw line is huge. 28 points. Vucevic has been having a great 2-week period. Had 16 rebounds here. Everything else is, he's still a little bit up and down. I think when Lonzo Ball comes back, he should still be grabbing 10 plus rebound, right? And if the shots, he should be getting. The main thing is the shots are not falling. Maybe just adjusting to a new system, he should only be getting better from this point forward. So I still look at him at the top 35 player. Zach Levine, the defensive stats are coming in lately, so that's great. The main thing with him is in the last 2 weeks. Let's check out what Zach is. Zach Levine, 30th ranked player, sounds about right. Still averaging 26 points and just 0.8 steals. That's better than the 0.5 or whatever steals he was getting at 0.8 blocks. So if he can get 1 steal and 0.6 blocks, he can move into that inside that top 30, which he's capable of doing. To be honest, the steals he has to be getting some. Kobe White, Kobe White came in and played 30. He was a good stream. He went off here, 24 points and 6 threes. But I just want to say Kobe White, last year, he averaged like 0.4, 0.5 steals. This season, he came in, he got 3 steals here. In the last 2 weeks, Kobe White is the 118th ranked player. Guys like this, their ranking is just not great in category leagues, but average 1 steal, that's great. So really, it's weird. This Bulls team, they're not generating that defensive, at least steals, right? They're not generating that many steals. They had 11 here. Wow. When you have Lonzo Ball and Caruso, these 2 guys are getting theirs, but the rest of the guys really aren't getting that many defensive stats. Kobe White is a stream until Lonzo Ball and Caruso comes back. Then he will go back playing 20 minutes. Let's talk about Indiana Pacers. Malcolm Brogdon continues to be out. And Chris Duarte also got placed into the protocol. So a lot of the offensive load goes to Karis LeVert and Sabonis. So these 2 guys, they try to sell high on them before guys come back, especially Karis LeVert, who's been killing it this week. LeVert in the last 2 weeks, he is the 55th ranked player, so not too crazy, but the counting stats still just shooting 40% from the field and 78% from the free throw line on 7.8 attempts, 7.4 attempts. So he's been getting to the line a lot, but the counting stats are very, very solid. 24 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2.5 threes. That, if the efficiency just a little bit better, that's a top 20, top 30 player. 1.4 steals and 0.6 blocks as well. So try to sell him if you can. Do a 2-for-1 to get a top 50 player. That's something I'll be looking to do. Really, really good stuff. And same thing with Sabonis. And hit his free throws as well. 7 for 8 from the free throw line. Great efficiency, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, and still a 2. Can't really, Sabonis in the last 2 weeks, his rank is not so great because of the free throws. But on the season, he's been getting a lot of steals. He's averaging over 1 steal a game. That's something new. Over the years, he was never a great steals guy. This season, been getting some steals. Pretty good. Miles Turner is a buy low. Had 5 personal fouls. Played just 18 minutes. It's just 1 bad game. He played decent, all right. Earlier this week. So I would try Robert Williams for Miles Turner. That's a trade I would do. I would take Miles Turner over Robert Williams. Miles Turner has been doing it for way longer. Robert Williams is still very, very inconsistent. Justin Holiday had 5 threes and a steal. With all the guys out, he could be a streamer for threes and steals. Torrey Craig and O'Shea Brissett came in. Torrey Craig, I guess he's had can bring some defensive stats and some assists and rebound. We could also stream him if you're looking for those categories. O'Shea Brissett, the same thing. I think he's a pretty good. He's a guy that can generate a lot of defensive stats. So as guys continue to be out, we could look for these two guys. Let's talk about the next game. The Dallas Mavericks beat the Sacramento Kings, 112-96. The Kings they're kind of a mess, and they need to figure out their point guard rotation. Well, not point guard rotation. They need to figure out who's the boss here. Either De'Aaron Fox or Tyrese Haliburton. For the Mavericks, they getting wins behind Kristaps Porzingis. Dorian Finney-Smith needs to be rostered. If you look at the stat, I mean, not that impressive, but he's a guy that could do a little bit everything and very, very fairly efficient, I would say. Doesn't turn the ball over a lot. 6 assists, is still in a block, 2 threes. If he's out there on the waiver wire, it's not too late to pick him up. Even when Doncic comes back, he could be getting 33, 34 minutes. Kristaps Porzingis obviously played well again, 24 points. Amazingly, he's played a lot of games. He played 26 games already, 11th ranked player. Played more than Joel Embiid. Played more than LeBron. Played more than Paul George. Pretty good stuff from Porzingis so far this season. Let's just see if he can stay healthy. Dwight Powell, 20 minutes. Reggie Bullock, let's not worry about him either. Jalen Brunson also a sell. Yeah, both Porzingis and Jalen Brunson, they're also a sell high with Luka out, especially Jalen Brunson. 8 assists and 22 points. He won't be getting the usage. Took 19 field goals here. I think with him it's the same strategy. Try to get a top 50 player, a struggling top 50, or to do a 2-for-1 to see if you can get that value back. And the rest of the Mavericks guys, really, they're not really contributing much. In fantasy, for the Kings, Tyrese Haliburton and De'Aaron Fox, they need to figure out, one guy got 10 assists, the other got 7. But Tyrese Haliburton has been putting up huge numbers without De'Aaron Fox playing like close to 40 minutes. Still, this game, a double-double, a steal and 4 rebounds and 4 threes, still great. While De'Aaron Fox struggled again. 7 assists is good, but everything else is 1 steal and 2 blocks, obviously. In fantasy, it's great. But he was a minus 26, while Tyrese Haliburton was a minus 7. So I took a look at their advanced metrics, like the offensive win share, defensive win share, all those, per 100 possessions. Tyrese Haliburton, he was better than De'Aaron Fox in pretty much everything. So I don't know what's going on with Fox this season. A little bit disengaged. Maybe not. He's probably not happy the fact that Tyrese Haliburton is taking over the team. So I don't know. Is he a buy low? You gotta be careful when you buy in category leagues. If you're punting a few categories, sure you could try to buy low, but just pure value-wise, he's not that great. You got to pound a few categories, and at that point, maybe he's a top 40, 50 player. For a guy that's getting drafted in the third, fourth round, definitely not. Very, very disappointing this season. He could turn it around, but we don't know what is it going to take. Sean Holmes played 29 minutes, pretty good game, Good field goal, 7 rebounds and 2 blocks. He's a massive buy low. If he got dropped, for sure, use your number 1 waiver pickup on him. Top 3 field goal anchor in the entire league. So you have that going for you. So if he's out there, grab him. Marvin Bagley keeps starting. In category leagues, he's not really relevant. In points leagues, maybe. But in category leagues, if you need rebounds and points, you could always stream him if the Kings got a good schedule. For Harrison Barnes, he's fallen off a cliff. He's the guy that we know. Hey, when playoff comes, you could get rid of him. You could drop him because he really doesn't. He provides points and some threes and a little bit rebound, but not in huge volume. Like I would say maybe like um, the guy on the Wizards, what's his name? Kyle Kuzma. Counting stat wise, maybe have more than Harrison Barnes. Provides more rebound and defensive stats. But we'll see. Harrison Barnes is more efficient. And Buddy Hield got his 25 minutes. He's close to a drop. I still want to hold him just to see what's going on. Damien Mitchell played 25, who didn't do anything. Chimezie Metu, it's a mess. Buddy Hield, I could see him being droppable. I just want to give him one game or two, but it's not looking great. The coach is giving a lot of minutes to Damien Mitchell, 20 plus minutes a game, and this game, Terrence Davis is also out. Otherwise, he will be getting like 15 to 20 minutes. So not looking good for Buddy. If he goes off next game, I would really try to sell him. Not looking great. The next game, the Miami Heat beat the Houston Rockets. Jimmy Butler had an ankle injury earlier this week, came back right away, and just had a monster game. Whenever this guy plays, he's putting up some crazy numbers. Better than everybody. Better than I expected, for sure. 6th ranked player, but really 5th ranked player. Well, LeBron James is actually, wow. Shoot. We'll talk about LeBron later. But Jimmy Butler played 21 games. If he pounding threes, he's basically top 2, top 3. Really, really good stuff. And like you look at his stat, everything is sustainable, I suppose. Maybe 50% from the field is a bit high, right? That's a little bit high, but everything else is honestly sustainable. Going to the free throw like 8.5 times but it's not that far off. The efficiency is a little bit too good right now, but it's not that far off. Should be a top 5, in a 5 to 10 range. Really good stuff. Caleb Martin, in the short term, we could stream him with all the COVID thing. 11 points and 6 rebounds and a steal. Didn't really do much. Omer, don't know how to say his last name, but this guy, he put up big numbers every time he plays. In just 30 minutes, 13 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks at 10 points. We could definitely stream him for some big man stats. Really, really, really good stuff. And Dwayne Dedmon is nowhere near the return, and we know that. Shoot, my memory. What's their center name? It's still out. What's his name? Shoot. Yeah, Bam. Sorry. Bam is still like a couple weeks out. So, yeah, let's grab him and stream him. Tyler Hero played 37 minutes. 9 assists is great, but still no defensive stats. That's going to be his biggest problem and efficiency issues as well. Kyle Lowry, had an alright game as well. Below average game. And Kyle Guy, he's actually the 4th ranked player. After this game, he only played 1 game, 23 minutes, 4 threes, 3 steals, 4 assists. He's a guy that can maybe put up some nice fantasy numbers. We'll see. I'll give him 1 more game and see how he does. Maybe stream him next week. Depend on if the Miami Heat's got a good schedule, of course. For the Houston Rockets, Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr., they were just fouling like crazy. Both had 5 and 6 fouls. Jalen Green, both guys need to be rostered. Jalen Green fouled out in 27 minutes. He mainly give you points and threes and nothing else. If you're pounding field goal, I think he's a guy you could roster. Kevin Porter Jr. brings a lot more counting stats. The rebound, well, not a huge rebounder, but the assist, steals, and blocks, he did it all. But, in true Kevin Porter Jr. fashion, he had 5 turnovers. I guess he didn't go to the free throw line, so that's great. But bad for on the field, as always. Christian Wood, 1 for 3. This whole Rocket team, free throw-wise, pretty horrible. 8 rebounds, 18 points, and steal and block. An average Christian Wood game. And, this game, I think Jason Tate came back in 25 minutes and went off. He's a guy, at the moment, I might like him more than guys like Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. But again, they bring different categories. Jason Tate is pretty solid. Even before he got placed into the safety protocol, he was having some huge games. In 25 minutes, he did it again. Let's pick him up and see where things go. I think they're gonna start him eventually, right? It doesn't make sense to start Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., and Eric Gordon. Who's taking the shots? And Şengün got hurt this game. I think we could move on from him. Let's talk about the next game. The Atlanta Hawks beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Hawks, basically it's Trae Young, Cam Reddish, Clint Capella, and the rest of the guys. I guess Lou Will also played well, but it's a great win for them, to be honest, with all the guys out. Clint Capella played 40 minutes. That's what it takes. A steal and 4 blocks, 23 rebounds. This is some huge numbers coming out. Trae took 28 field goals. Yep, there's really nobody out there. And even this game, Cam Reddish got hurt. So in the short term, Atlanta is going to have a lot of usage. Depending on who comes back first. If Kevin Huerter comes back, go grab him. He's going to have some nice usage. If Bogdanovic comes back, let's grab him. Have some huge usage going around. Wes Anwundu played 43 minutes. Didn't really do anything, had 5 fouls. Even though the minutes is there, I don't feel particularly good about streaming him. Skylar Mays, 19 points, but played just 22 minutes. Why is that? Because Lou Will came in and took... Lou Will could be a good stream for free throw points and threes. A little bit assist as well. He played 32 minutes. If we know Lou Will, he can get buckets, right? He could come in and score 25 minutes, given 30 minutes, no worries. Let's stream him. If the Atlanta Hawks schedule is great, for those guard stats. And Les Stevenson came in and played 5 minutes again. That's great to see. For the Cavaliers, they signed Rondo, but Rondo is also in the safety protocol. Rondo and Darius Garland are both placed into the safety protocol. So Kevin Pangos keeps starting. Keep getting sub 25 minutes, so let's not worry about it. Kevin Love, I think we have to try to sell him. He's been so good lately. He's averaged over 20 points every single game in the last 2 weeks, I believe. He's actually the 28th ranked player. Playing 26 minutes, averaging 23 points, 4.5 threes, 9 rebounds, with crazy efficiencies. This is, per minute wise, this is better than prime Kevin Love. So he's still a great NBA player. It's just in the last 2-3 years, he wasn't trying. This year the team is great. So I would try to sell him and just hold him. And I think I guess Jarrod Allen, Evan Mobley, Lauri Markkanen, they all came back. So there's a situation where even when all the guards come back, like Kevin Love could still be getting 25 minutes. Just hold him if you cannot sell high on him. With Rubio out, I think he could have good value rest of the way, even though they play different positions. Isaiah Okoro, minutes is there, but this guy doesn't really do anything. We shouldn't worry about streaming him unless they got a great schedule. They got 3 games in 4 days. You could think about streaming him. Otherwise, I would just leave him on the waiver wire. Let's talk about the next game. The LA Clippers lost to the Toronto Raptors. Marcus Morris Sr. is a huge sell high. Obviously, we don't know if Paul George is going to be back. If Paul George is out, let's say if he's out on the season, I can see Marcus Morris Sr. averaging 2.5 threes and 18 points. That's easy. But he doesn't really do anything else. He did a little bit of everything here. But most of the time, he doesn't get a lot of defensive stats or assist. But really good game. A must roster. If he's out there on the waiver wire, we have to pick him up. Terrence Mann's played great. 37 minutes, but he's inconsistent. I would look to sell him if I can. Serge Ibaka, with Zubac out, they got to turn into Ibaka. But Ibaka played just 17 minutes. So I think we should also just leave him on the waiver wire. Luke Kennard, minutes is there. If you want points and threes, absolutely stream him or roster him. Reggie Jackson, 17, came back, played, had one of his great games already. Not one of his great games, he had a decent game right away. 17 points, 4 assists, and 2 steals is what I'm looking for. And 5 threes is also huge. Eric Bledsoe, we could move on, man. They're playing Reggie Jackson and Eric Bledsoe at the point guard. They play him as a point guard exclusively. So he's just getting whatever left of Reggie Jackson. So we could move on from him. For the Raptors, they got all their guys back, and this team is just fantasy-wise really, really scary stuff. Pascal Siakam played 40 minutes. Who else is still out on this team? I'm trying to think. Siakam, OG, Cam Berger. I mean, they are back. Pretty much they got everybody. I mean, Precious Achiuwa, but he's really not fantasy relevant. So they got most of their starters back. Siakam, what a game. 19 rebounds. 4 for 9 from the free throw line is bad, but I always, I look at him always being a top 50 player. So if you bought low on him, congratulations. He's not going to do this every single game. He's not that consistent. But this is a great start. And he played, of course, Nick Nurse is going to play the starters huge minutes. No surprise. OG, great. 26 3 threes, 4 steals, and 6 rebounds. But a lot of value of OG's value, I mean, he does bring, really good steals. But that's majority of his value. A lot of his value coming from the efficiencies. I mean, he's going to give you 19 points as well. But other than that, he doesn't grab that many rebounds, steal, assists, and blocks. I think OG, a lot of people think he's like a top 30 or top 25 player. So if you can get guys in that range, I would do it. If you can get a Bradley Beal, I don't think you would think too much, right? They're obviously a bit different. They bring different stats, but I would take Bradley Beal over OG all day. I would take, who else is in that top 12? Like I would take a guy like Anthony Edwards over OG as well. Like I said, a lot of his value coming from his efficiencies, not a lot of counting stats. But yeah, this is obviously when he's back playing getting 4 steals, it's obviously great. Hit for 3 threes as well. Gary Trent also back. So they got all the guys back at the same time. 10 points, 2 threes. He'll be better than this next game. And Fred VanVleet also back. 9 assists, 2 steals. Took 27 field goals. That's not really, Fred VanVleet like usually. But first game back, maybe the symptoms are not that bad. They are well rested. A great game from Fred VanVleet as well. And with him, your field goal is always going to struggle. And Chris Boucher, with guys coming back, he still got 23 minutes. So that's a great sign. So still hold on to him. If he can get that 23, 25-minute role a night, you could still have him at the end of your bench. Who knows? Guys could get injured again. And he can come here and play 27, 28 minutes. The upside is always there with him. He just needs the minutes. Let's talk about the next game. The San Antonio Spurs lost to the Memphis Grizzlies. The Spurs, what are they playing for? They're really not playing for anything, for youth development. But they don't really have a superstar in the making. The best player is Dejounte Murray. He's a great fantasy player, but in real life, not so much. Right now, the 10th. Kelton Johnson, a bad game. He's not a must roster. He's had a good 2-week stretch. Now he's going back to his old ways. Doug McDermott, this guy will never, the only situation you touch him is they got 5 games and you need some scoring and some efficiency. He's not a great fantasy player. Jakob Poeltl played just 24 minutes. I wonder why. I think it was because it was a blowout. Popovich loved to do those type of things. If the game is out of control in the fourth quarter, he just pull out the starters. Derrick White got 24 minutes. Jakob Poeltl got 24 minutes. This obviously not great for fantasy, but they'll be better than this. Keita Bates-Diapo had a decent game. 2 steals, 2 blocks, 11 rebounds, 8 points in just 22 minutes. Maybe we're wrong about him. Maybe, because versus the Lakers, he put up 30 points. He didn't miss a shot. So maybe he's a guy we could look to stream if the Spurs got a good schedule. Derrick White, 9 assists is great, 2 blocks, 15 points, 2 threes, but nothing else in just 24 minutes. Derrick White, we should try to sell him high. Maybe do a 2-for-1 to get a top 20 player. See, you could execute those type of trades, because with Dejounte Murray out, his assist number is going to be has been really, really good. But with Devontae back, he's going to go back to maybe 5 a game. And Devin Vassell, just 20 minutes. He's another guy. Thaddeus Young came here, played 12 minutes. For the Grizzlies, another great win. I mean, Ja Morant, 30 points, 3 for 3 from the 3. He's against the Lakers, he went like 6 for 7 from 3. Crazy stuff. Crazy hot, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. Really, really good. Really, really good. I don't know what else to say. I think he's beaten my expectations because he's making threes this year. He's getting steals. 2 things he wasn't doing last year. He's doing it all. I thought the knee injury coming back might slow him down, but that hasn't been the case last 2 games. Just need him to stay healthy. That's been being, again, a huge sell high. He took 20 field goals. That is not going to happen when Dillon Brooks comes back. 17 points. I mean, struggled from the field a little bit, but he's been really top 50 player in the last month or so. Really, really good. I'd really try to sell him. Steven Adams, 13 minutes, just a rebound streamer. Jarrod Jackson Jr. struggled again with his shot. He's been pretty poor last 2 weeks. This game, I mean, fantasy-wise, really good because the 2 steals and 3 blocks. But he's actually the 162nd ranked player, shooting 34% from the field and 78% from the free throw line. So those 2 categories really killing his value. But this is why we love Jarrod Jackson Jr. 2 steals, 3 blocks, 11 rebounds. He'll be better. The shots got to fall at some point. Kyle Anderson coming in, played 24 minutes. And a lot of bench guys got into the action. Tyus Jones played 28. Killian Tilly played 24. But those bench guys, the minutes they're not promised. They could have 20 minutes the next team of even 15. So they're not. Oh, they do have 5 games next week. So you could stream some of those guys, like a Brandon Clark, a Tyus Jones. 5 games of them are probably better than some other guys you have on your team that only play 3 games. Let's talk about the next game. Wow, there were a lot of games yesterday. New York Knicks lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Kemba Walker was a late scratch. He was warming up and he said he felt that something was off. So of course, with Kemba out, of course, Evan Fournier played just 20 minutes and didn't do anything. Evan Fournier is a drop. He is a drop. You could stream him, but he's got to be a drop. Miles McBride started. I don't know. Alec Burks was starting, and then Kemba Walker. This game, Kemba Walker's out, and then Tom Thibodeau still doesn't start Alec Burks and only gave him 24 minutes. He had a huge game last game, probably a sell high. I think what's it looking like now is when Kemba plays, Alec Burks is going to get 25 to 20 minutes. So all the Knicks guys, if they're playing well, try to sell high. Same thing with Kemba. You have to try to sell him. He might go from hero to what's the word to a droppable player real soon, right? It just take one coaching decision to say, hey Kemba, can you come off the bench? Maybe just give Kemba 0 minutes even. So try to sell all the guys who've been playing well. And Emmanuel quickly came in and played 25 minutes. Not really a great fantasy player at this point. Mitchell Robinson with Lillard so well out. He's been playing okay, 12 rebounds and a block, and nothing else. Obi Toppin, you could stream him because with Julius Randle out. But this game, 1 for 4 from the field and 3 for 6 from the free throw line. What is he really providing? I don't know. Against some bad teams, I guess you could put up some nice numbers. I guess Oklahoma City wasn't exactly a great team. He still put up a line like this. So he's just not great at this point, so I wouldn't really go stream him. And RJ, with everybody out, I think RJ could be a good stream with Randall out. The minutes is very consistent, unlike the guards. Efficiencies, 5 for 9. That's something you have to live with if you're going to stream him. But the counting set could be solid in the next week or two with Randall out especially. For the Oklahoma City Thunder, Shea came back. Had a subpar game. 9 for 24 is not great. Shea, counting stat-wise, Shea is very, very solid. But efficiency has been a huge issue with him. Personally, I like counting stats over efficiency. But perfect example is Shea versus OG Anunoby, who's pretty efficient. Who would you rather take? I'll probably take Shea. Aaron Wiggins, 26 minutes. He's a guy that, hey, if he started getting 30 minutes, we could have. But Josh Giddey was out. That's why he was getting the minutes. With Shea back, he's no longer getting that usage. Only took 8 field goals here. Isaiah Roby keeps starting just 20 minutes until he gets 25 to 30. We shouldn't worry about him. And Lou Dort been struggling. He's still a hold. And like I said, Kendrick Williams is a great fantasy player. In the short term, he's a guy that we could look to stream. He can get defensive stats. He can get rebound. He did a little bit of everything here, as we've seen. And Ty Jerome, keep it going. Play 27 minutes again, but with Shea back, he's obviously not going to get the opportunity he had last game. I think if Shea is ever out again, Ty Jerome could be a good stream. Oklahoma City, they got embarrassed by the Grizzlies, but they're not the worst team. As a matter of fact, they only 1.5 games out of the 10th seed, out of the play-ins. So hey, like Portland Trailblazers right now, the 14th seed. So yeah, I think people maybe should respect them just a little bit more. The next game, the Minnesota Timberwolves lost to the Utah Jazz. All the guys are coming back. Anthony Edwards came back. I think, well, not all the guys. Karl Anthony Towns is still out. D'Angelo Russell is still out. We don't know if they're going to be back tomorrow. They could miss more games. But, they could be back. We don't know. So Anthony Edwards. So Malik Beasley could be a good stream till those guys come back. Jaden McDaniels, same thing. Those guys are going to put up decent numbers with all those guys out. Anthony Edwards took 21 field goals, 26 points, and 6 fouled out. Not the best game. Jared Vanderbilt came back, played just 22 minutes. Maybe his conditioning is not there, so he's still a pretty strong code. Naz Reid started, played just 15 minutes. Naz Reid is a good fantasy player when given the minutes, but Nathan Knight got 18 minutes. Greg Monroe got 15 minutes. I want to say Naz Reid is a good stream with Cat out, but that's not the case. The minutes are distributed 3 ways at the moment, with Greg Monroe and Nathan Knight. So all three of those guys, let's not really touch them. Malik Beasley played okay, 22 points, 6 threes. He's a points and threes guy until D'Angelo Russell comes back. Patrick Beverley, wow, what a game. 2 threes, 11 points, 6 assists, 2 steals, a block. He needs to be rostered and try to sell high after games like this. But he's a guy that could provide a bit of everything. A good fantasy guy. Jaden McDaniels had 12 points and 6 rebounds and nothing else. Not the best game from him. But he's a really great shot blocker. He had 5 blocks. He had a 5 block game earlier this week. And, provide some defensive stats and some rebounds. I would continue streaming him until Cat comes back. Who knows? He might be out for 2 or 3 more games, right? If the symptoms are not going away. For the Utah Jazz, they got a couple guys out on their end as well. Mike Conley was out due to rest, I believe. Bogdanovic, 24 and 12 rebound, 9 for 9 from the free throw line. Really, really good stuff. This is one of the best games coming from Bogdanovic. Not just the points and threes. He actually went to the free throw line 9 times and made all of them and 12 rebounds. They're both huge. Royce O'Neal, how can he not take a shot? That is absolutely insane. He played 32 minutes, took 0 shots. So now we know, if you have him, you might want to pump points. But lately, he hasn't been good, so we should probably just leave him on the waiver wire. Rudy Gobert, 4 blocks, 16 rebounds. What else is new? What a beast. From him. And Donovan Mitchell came back from his back injury, put up a pretty good game, pretty good line. 39 points, 6 threes, 90% from the free throw line. This is what you want to see more from Donovan, is know how to draw fouls. Learn from trade. Some of the young guys in the league, they already know how to do it. So if he can increase his free throws attempt, that would be great. 5 assists and a steal, 6 rebounds. Donovan Mitchell has been a surprise this year for sure. After this game, He's the 14th ranked player, really the 13th ranked player, because Kyle Guy is currently third. And why is he so good this year? What's the biggest difference? Is the steal numbers. Like 26 points is great, but he was averaging like 24, 25 last year as well. 46% from the field also really, improved his field goal by 3% and the steal rate by, he went from 1 to 1.6. But his rookie year and his second year, I went back and checked. He was averaging 1.5 steals. So I don't know what happened the last 2 years. Free throw maybe also a little bit high, 7%. But it's not that far. He should be, if he can maintain the steal rate, which I think he will at this point, he should be a top 20 player the rest of the way. Jordan Clarkson, with Mike Conley out, he also came in and got 20 points. He's not a must-roster guy. I think we all know that. If he goes off, I really would try to sell him. Rudy Gay also had a decent game, came in. Let's talk about the last game of the night. It's just two teams that were good over the years. I guess Lakers was sucking for a long time. But the Blazers, this Blazers team, man, they're the 14th seed right now in the Western Conference. I am really worried about Damien Lillard. I think if you can get Bradley Beal for Damien Lillard, it's a no-brainer. You just have to do that. He has some real shutdown risk. I think, guys like Josh Lloyd been saying like, hey, players usually don't get shut down. I don't think that's accurate. I think what he's talking about is like guys worrying about shutdown risk too much, right? But players do get shut down. I think in Damian Lillard's case, I think at this point it's 50-50, right? If he doesn't get traded, of course. If he gets traded to the 76ers, which will be a really good scenario for him, then he's going to keep playing. But if he's staying on this team, and the direction this team is going, they're going nowhere. They're 13-22 on the season. If they're not even going to be sniff, the playing seed, if they're not even going to be the 10th seed, and Damian Lillard doesn't get traded, that's a lot of ifs. I think the shutdown risk is very, very high. And whenever he played in the last 2 weeks, how good has he been? Damian Lillard. '66 ranked player, not the worst. Wow, he actually averaged 30 points in the last 2 weeks. So my bad. He's been playing fairly well actually. This is one of his worst games in the last 2 weeks. But I try to get Bradley Beal for sure. Before Beal might blow up, Beal might suck, but at least Beal is gonna play. And they both guys getting drafted in the first round. So that's something like if Bradley Beal keeps sucking, right? The frustrated owner might just take that deal. Norman Powell should have a great season, I think, with all the BS been going on. 31 minutes, struggle with his efficiency, but even when CJ McCollum comes back, he could still get his 16, 17 points with 2.3s with great efficiency, right? Larry Nance Jr. played just 26 minutes. He had a huge game. I think I still want to hold him. It was mainly because of blowout and they were down. They don't really need his defense. This is why Tony Snell and Nasser Little play so little. Because they were down big. They needed some more offense. So guys like Ben McLemore got some huge minutes. Dennis Smith Jr. come in and played 25 minutes. Reggie Perry even played 27 minutes. So Larry Nance Jr. is still a very strong hold until guys come back and see. Then we make decisions then. Let's look at the LA Lakers. Malik Monk. This is like 3-4 good games in a row now. We could pick him up and see where things go, but I could easily see him, losing minutes and not play. 30 minutes. Stanley Johnson, 23 minutes. And the Lakers, AD is eventually going to be back. LeBron's been starting at the center in the last few games. So what's going to happen when that happens? No idea. But this is working out for the Lakers. LeBron playing at the center. LeBron, after this game, wow, number one ranked player. I don't think anybody saw it coming. if you tell me, do I want LeBron or Jokic or Curry now, I still take Jokic and Curry. But after this game, I think I'm convinced. I think he's going to be a top 5 player. Whenever he plays, he's going to be a top 5 player. The question is, can he stay healthy? I think this is the only question. Whenever he plays, he's going to be top. He's trying hard. The Lakers are struggling. Maybe when AD comes back, he's going to take a bit backseat. But he's going off every single game whenever he plays. 43. This stat line is unreal at the age of 37. Seriously. 43 points, 14 rebounds. This is video game numbers. The only thing is 6 for 9 from the free throw line. But he even hit 5 3. And he's been a great free throw shooter all season. After this game, 77%. 77% from LeBron is good. Not low 30. He was shooting 37, 30, 32%. There's obviously, I think, going to be some drop-offs. But hey, if I can do LeBron plus a top 100 guy for Jokic, that's something I'll be looking to do. Maybe you can pull it off. Jokic has not been great lately. By his standard, of course. But yeah, LeBron, nobody, I don't think anybody, he was taking the 3rd round, late 2nd, early 3rd. He's probably can, if he can sustain this, he can definitely win people leagues for sure. Really, really crazy stuff coming out of LeBron. Avery Bradley, a steal on the block. Let's not worry about him. Russell Westbrook, I think LeBron's giving all the assists to him. Triple-double machine again. 5 for 6 from the free throw line. Also, an overall a decent game from Russ. And it was a plus 29. Good stuff. And Trevor Ariza came in and played 22. Taylor Horton Tucker, 22. Austin Reeves played 26. Carmelo Anthony played 20. So Carmelo Anthony, if you were streaming him, it looks like with these guys come back, he's not gonna get 30 minutes consistently, even with AD out. He can still put up some points and threes, but on most nights he won't have double-digit scoring. So if you have him, you could drop him. And that's it for all the games. Happy New Year, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.